Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be talking about a company you've probably never heard of,
Okay.
but one that you should absolutely know about, and that's DeepSeek.
DeepSeek.
Yeah, DeepSeek. And we've got excerpts from this book here called Breaking the AI Barrier. And this book is wild. DeepSeek is this tiny Chinese firm that's totally shaking up the AI world, taking on these giants with a budget that's basically like pocket change for Silicon Valley.
It really is a David versus Goliath story.
Yeah.
It is. We're talking $5 million for DeepSeek versus the billions that companies like Google and Microsoft pour into AI. What DeepSeek has managed to achieve with such limited resources,
Yeah.
it's just fascinating.
Okay, so before we get into DeepSeek's secret sauce, can you kind of set the scene for us? AI used to be this exclusive club, right?
Absolutely. For years, artificial intelligence was the domain of elite universities, heavily funded research labs, and of course those massive tech companies. But things are shifting, and DeepSeek is right at the forefront of this change.
This book, Breaking the AI Barrier, calls it the democratization of AI. What exactly does that mean?
It means that the tools and the knowledge needed to develop AI are becoming more accessible to a wider range of people and organizations. It's no longer a game just for the giants. There's several factors that are driving this, like the sheer increase in computing power that we've seen. Hardware is getting cheaper. Cloud computing is making resources readily available. And online education is exploding. Suddenly, the barrier to entry is significantly lower than it used to be.
So like how the internet gave anyone with a computer a voice, now these advancements are giving more people the power to tinker with and build their own AI.
That's a great analogy. And a big part of this democratization is the rise of open source technology. Think of it like a recipe book for AI that everyone can access, contribute to, and improve upon. Instead of each company guarding its AI secrets like these precious jewels, they're sharing components, algorithms, even whole systems.
So DeepSeek is taking advantage of this open buffet of AI knowledge.
They are. And that's a key part of how they've achieved so much with so little. They're masters at using what's already out there, combining it in innovative ways, and focusing their own resources on the areas where they can truly differentiate themselves.
Clever. But the book also argues that you don't need billions of dollars to make a real impact in AI. They use this analogy about a garden and a factory. What's that all about?
Oh, it's a great way to illustrate their point. Imagine a wealthy industrialist trying to grow the most beautiful roses.
Yeah.
By building this massive high-tech factory, he throws tons of money and technology at the problem. But next door, his neighbor is quietly tending to this simple garden, using traditional methods and a deep understanding of how roses thrive. And guess what?
What?
The neighbor's roses turn out to be more vibrant, more fragrant, just plain better.
Because it's not about brute force. It's about the knowledge and the skill.
Exactly. The book argues that DeepSeek's success is based on this garden approach. They're not trying to outspend the giants. They're outsmarting them by being laser-focused on their goals, efficient with their resources, and incredibly resourceful in leveraging what's already available.
All right, so we've got this scrappy underdog, DeepSeek, taking on the AI establishment. Can you paint a picture for us? What's a typical big tech approach to AI development? And how does DeepSeek's strategy differ?
Well, the big tech playbook often looks like this. Throw massive amounts of data computing power and money at a problem. Build everything in-house. And keep your advancements closely guarded. It's a resource-heavy approach, almost like an arms race to see who can be the biggest and the strongest.
And DeepSeek is going for a more nimble, almost guerrilla-style approach.
Exactly. They're leveraging the power of open-source technologies, which allows them to tap into this vast pool of pre-existing knowledge and tools. They're embracing cloud computing to access flexible and affordable computing power when they need it. And they're building collaborative networks, partnering with universities and other organizations to share knowledge and resources.
So they're basically saying, we don't need to build everything from scratch. Let's use what's already out there, combine it in smart ways, and focus our energy on the things that truly matter.
That's exactly it. And this approach is sending ripples through the entire AI industry.
I bet it is. The big players probably weren't expecting this small, resourceful company to come along and shake things up like this. But what does it actually mean for the AI landscape? How has DeepSeek's approach challenged the status quo?
Well, DeepSeek's success is like a shot across the bow for the whole industry. It's challenging those traditional assumptions that you need to be this massive company with billions of dollars to even innovate in AI. It's a wake-up call for sure. DeepSeek has demonstrated that a small, agile team working collaboratively and leveraging existing resources can achieve groundbreaking results.
It's making those big tech companies rethink their whole approach, isn't it? They can't just ignore what DeepSeek has accomplished.
Exactly. DeepSeek's story highlights a shift towards a more open and collaborative model of AI development. The old paradigm of proprietary technologies and closed ecosystems is starting to give way to a more decentralized and inclusive approach.
So it's like the walls are coming down, and
Yeah.
suddenly there's this whole new playground for innovation where anyone can participate.
That's a great way to put it. And this has huge implications, not just for the tech industry, but for society as a whole. We're talking about a fundamental shift in the way we develop and interact with technology.
Okay, so let's talk about those wider implications. I think a lot of people hear AI revolution, and their minds jump to dystopian sci-fi scenarios. But what are the real, tangible ways this democratization of AI is going to impact our lives?
Well, one of the most significant areas is the future of work. As AI becomes more sophisticated and accessible, we're going to see more and more tasks being automated. This will inevitably lead to changes in the job market, with some jobs disappearing and new ones emerging.
It's the question everyone's asking. Are robots going to take our jobs?
It's not as simple as that. It's not about AI replacing humans entirely. It's more about AI augmenting our capabilities, taking over repetitive or dangerous tasks, and freeing us up to focus on things
Yeah.
that require uniquely human skills.
Like creativity, critical thinking, problem solving. Those things that robots aren't so good at yet.
Exactly. Those skills are going to be more valuable than ever in an AI-driven world.
So it's less about fearing AI and more about adapting to this changing landscape, right? What can people do to prepare for this future of work where AI is going to be a major player?
The key is to focus on developing those skills that are uniquely human and difficult to automate. Things like creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, complex problem solving. These are the areas where humans will continue to have an edge.
So it's not just about learning to code, it's about nurturing those human skills that make us adaptable and innovative.
Precisely, it's about lifelong learning, being adaptable, and embracing the idea that the jobs of the future may look very different from the jobs of today.
It's exciting and a little daunting at the same time, but it sounds like the democratization of AI could actually create a lot of new opportunities, not just challenges.
Absolutely. Think about the potential for entrepreneurship. As AI tools become more accessible and affordable, it lowers the barriers to entry for startups and small businesses. Suddenly, you don't need a huge team of engineers and millions of dollars to develop innovative products and services powered by AI.
So it's kind of leveling the playing field for entrepreneurs, just like open source is leveling the playing field for developers.
That's a great way to put it. And this can lead to a more dynamic and diverse economy, with new ideas and innovations coming from all corners of the world.
That's a really optimistic view of the future. But we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the potential downsides, right? I mean, with any powerful technology, there's always the risk of misuse or unintended consequences.
You're right. It's important to acknowledge those potential challenges. One concern is the potential for economic disruption. As AI automates more tasks, there will be job displacement in certain sectors. We need to be prepared to support those who are affected and help them transition to new roles.
So retraining and education are going to be crucial.
Absolutely. We need to invest in programs that equip people with the skills they need to thrive in this evolving job market. But it's not just about jobs. It's also about ensuring that the benefits of AI are distributed equitably.
What do you mean by that?
Well, we need to be mindful of the potential for AI to exacerbate existing inequalities if access to AI tools and resources is concentrated in the hands of a few. It could widen the gap between the haves and the have-nots.
So it's not just about making AI accessible. It's about making sure that access is fair and equitable for everyone, regardless of their background or resources.
That's exactly right. We need to think about how to ensure that the benefits of AI are shared broadly across society.
I'm glad you brought that up. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of the technology and forget about the human element. But ultimately, AI is a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad. It all depends on who's wielding it and for what purpose.
I couldn't agree more. That's why it's so important to have these conversations about the ethical implications of AI. As we move towards a future where AI is more pervasive, we need to be thinking about the values we want to embed in these systems.
So it's not just about building cool new tech. It's about building tech that reflects our values and serves humanity as a whole.
That's exactly it.
Right.
And this is where the democratization of AI can actually play a positive role. By making AI development more inclusive and participatory, we can ensure that a wider range of voices are heard, and that these technologies are designed with ethical considerations in mind.
So more diversity in the field of AI development can lead to more ethical and responsible outcomes.
That's the idea. By bringing together people from different backgrounds, disciplines, and perspectives, we can create a more robust and nuanced approach to AI ethics. It's about having those difficult conversations, challenging assumptions, and ensuring that AI is developed and used in a way that benefits all of humanity, not just a select few.
This has been an incredible overview of the implications of AI democratization. I feel like we've covered so much ground, from the future of work to ethical considerations to the potential for economic disruption and opportunity. But you know what I keep coming back to?
With that,
DeepSeek, this small company. That's not just innovating in AI, but also challenging our whole approach to innovation itself. They're proving that it's not just about resources, it's about resourcefulness.
that's what's so inspiring about their story, isn't it?
And
They've given us this blueprint for success in a world that's rapidly changing, showing us that it's possible to achieve incredible things, even when you're not the biggest player in the game.
Okay, so before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to bring it back to you, the listener. If DeepSeek, this little engine that can shake up the AI world, what does that mean for you? What are the lessons we can all take away from their journey and apply to our own lives, our own work, our own aspirations? I think DeepSeek's story really underscores that impactful innovation. It doesn't always come from like those giant, well-funded labs. They can sprout up anywhere, even from a small team with a tight budget, as long as they have the right approach.
Their story is a fantastic reminder that we don't always need more
Yeah.
to achieve great things. Sometimes it's about using what we already have in smarter ways.
Yeah.
DeepSeek took their constraints, things like limited funding and a small team, and turned them into advantages.
It's like that saying, necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
They had to be scrappy resourceful, and that forced them to be incredibly innovative.
Exactly. They couldn't just throw money at every problem, so they had to think creatively, prioritize ruthlessly, and really leverage those open source tools and collaborative networks. It's a lesson we can all apply, whether we're trying to launch a business, tackle a challenging project, or even just solve a problem in our daily lives.
So how can we cultivate that DeepSeek mindset, that ability to turn constraints into fuel for innovation?
Start by really examining those limitations instead of seeing them as roadblocks. Ask yourself, what opportunities might these constraints create? How can I use this limitation to my advantage?
So it's almost like a mental shift, reframing the problem. Instead of, I don't have enough money, it's, how can I achieve this with the resources I do have?
That's the spirit. It forces you to get creative, to
Yeah.
be resourceful. And often that's where the most innovative solutions emerge.
Yeah.
DeepSeek's story also highlights the importance of a culture of experimentation and learning. They weren't afraid to try new things, fail quickly, and iterate based on what they learned.
It's that classic Silicon Valley mantra, fail fast, fail often. But it's not just about failing.
Right. It's about learning from those failures and adapting quickly.
Precisely in a field like AI, where things are constantly evolving, that ability to adapt and learn is crucial. And it's not just relevant to tech. Any field that's experiencing rapid change requires this kind of agility.
So how can we build that kind of experimental, learning-focused culture, whether it's in our workplace, our team, or even just our personal lives?
It starts with psychological safety. People need to feel safe to experiment, to take risks, to put their ideas out there without fear of judgment or punishment if things don't work out perfectly.
So creating an environment where it's okay to make mistakes,
Yeah,
as long as we learn from them.
Exactly. And it's also about celebrating those small wins along the way. Recognize the progress being made no matter how incremental, and encourage constant feedback and iteration. It's a continuous process of learning and improvement. I think that's such a valuable takeaway, especially in today's world, where it's so easy to get caught up in this constant striving for perfection. We need to remind ourselves that failure is part of the journey, and it's often where the most valuable lessons are learned.
Couldn't agree more. And then, of course, there's the power of open collaboration, something we've touched on throughout this deep dive. DeepSeek demonstrates that you don't have to go it alone. Leveraging collective knowledge, whether through open source communities, partnerships, or just reaching out to experts in different fields, can be a game changer.
It's like that African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
That's it. And in the context of AI, collaboration is even more crucial, not just for efficiency, but for ethical development as well. Having more eyes on the code, more diverse perspectives involved in the design process, helps to ensure that AI is developed responsibly and benefits a wider range of people.
So DeepSeek's story is really a call to action, isn't it? It's not just about marveling at their achievements. It's about taking those lessons and applying them to our own lives, our own work, our own ambitions.
I think that's a fantastic way to put it. DeepSeek has shown us that the future of AI, and really the future of innovation in general, is not predetermined. It's being shaped right now by individuals and teams who are willing to think differently, to challenge assumptions, and to collaborate openly to create something truly impactful.
This has been a truly inspiring deep dive. It's given me a lot to think about, both in terms of how I approach my own work and how I view the potential of AI in the world.
It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
And to our listeners, we hope you've enjoyed this journey as well. We encourage you to learn more about DeepSeek and, more importantly, to consider how you can apply their principles of innovation and collaboration to your own endeavors. Remember, the future is not something that happens to us. It's something we create collectively through our choices and actions. So go out there, embrace those constraints, experiment fearlessly, collaborate openly, and let's build an amazing future together.